This is my Porsche 911 Carrera S, and over the last few episodes we've been doing various things to this car, including installing a GT3 rear bumper. We're going to start looking at some issues. Some of these have been bugging me since the day that I bought the car. Let's take a look at the list and start to work our way through them. Now this is the list. We're not going to be able to get through all of these in this episode, but we're going to pick off these one by one. And the first one we're going to tackle is the trim scraping underneath the car, which is driving me crazy. Let's take a look at that one now. So I've got a mild incline on my driveway, and anytime I go over speed bumps, I get this really loud scraping noise. And you can see under here where the trim is already starting to wear away. When I looked at it, I saw that there was actually a very thin line across this trim, which I believe is a cut point. And because my car has been lowered a further 10 mil, this to me explains why I'm starting to get this noise all the time. So first easy job, I'm just going to cut across that line and trim this down. Now this didn't take too long, it looked a bit scruffy there, but I tidied it up afterwards. But yeah, look at the scraping that this has been going through. So first one ticked off the box, and I confirm after driving it worked perfectly. Now next one, this is the fire extinguisher I got in my car. I think we all agree it's a good idea to have one. I just didn't want it tucked in the passenger side footwell. So first up, I'm going to create a bracket, and I want to get this like mounted nearer to the driver's side. This was the first run I had at it. This particular one didn't quite fit properly, as you can see. It moved around quite a lot, but this is where I'm going to mount it. And if you look slightly over to the right, you can see a little screw hole, and that's my goal there, to mount it on that screw hole. And this was my second version that I produced that would do exactly that. And here's the finished printed version, exactly what I need. Let's get this onto the car. Quick check before I do that. Yep, the fire extinguisher does actually mount into it. And now all finished, screwed in, nice and solid. Yep, does exactly what I wanted it to do. Perfect. And that's another job ticked off the list. Now before we get on to the next one, I do want to tell you I am going to be doing an update at the end of this video around the shifter and the progress we've been making against that as well, which we are making some good progress, but I'm going to need a bit of help. Now this next one, I 3D printed some headrests. It was bugging me a little bit that on the car there's quite a big gap between your head and the headrest, and I'm assuming this is because you might be wearing a crash helmet in the car. So a while ago I did 3D print these. They don't look fantastically pretty, but the heat had meant that the PETG plastic had expanded a bit, so I wanted to tighten that up. So I heated this up and got it back into shape, and now I'm going to put some fiberglass inside it to give it a bit more strength. So after that sanding down, I'm going to mix up some laminating resin, and we're going to get some fiberglass in there. So first I'm just going to get some of this laminating resin on top, and then I'm going to start applying the fiberglass fabric on top of it and just patch that in over the top. This should just give it the strength I need. I've gone for some quick drying resin here, and after about 6-7 hours it should all be nice and dry, but I'm going to leave it overnight. Yep, and drying up nicely. That looks messy, but yep, it's going to achieve the goal. So that's now dried. I'm going to use my hot blade here and start cutting off all the excess elements around the edges. Yep, and that's it all cut off. Obviously it now needs tidying up, so I'm going to file this down, and already while I'm doing this I can feel the strength. So it took me about 15 minutes, I filed it all down, got it reasonably smooth, and now I'm just wiping it down with some IPA cloth. And now I'm putting on some spray putty just so I can see where some of the like holes and gaps are where the fiberglass has gone in, but it probably needs a bit of plastic filler. I'm going to leave that to dry on both sides. Now I did the plastic filler and that's it all finished with some black spray over it. And now that's all done. Nice and solid. Although yeah, that fabric covering does need a lot to be desired. So that's another one off the list. Headrests fixed and strengthened. Now let's get onto the diffuser, because as you can see here, it's a little bit wobbly. And as we go through this, you're going to see why. But first up, let's get these bolts out so I can get it off. The other thing I wanted to do with this, before I noticed it was wobbly, is the installation is a bit challenging. It's alright if you're going to get it on and you're not really going to move it, but it really kind of bugged me around serviceability. And again, we're going to come on to that later. But first up, let's get the diffuser off. So those bolts removed on the inside and the ones on the outside. And then the screws right at the very front, that releases it. And then it can be slid out. Now, as you can see here, this is why it's loose. I reversed up a curb, it scraped it and it popped the rivnut out. The other reason was I put a bit too much Loctite on the bolts, and as you can see here when I run my fingernail through it, it comes out. So first up, let's get the rivnut sorted. This is pretty straightforward, but I bought this tool here because it was so much easier to try and get it installed under the car, and that worked a treat. Much easier than the other one I was using. Rivnut done. So with the rivnut sorted, now I want to sort out how this gets mounted. Now this is a previous Matt Armstrong video. He's obviously got a real GT3, but if you look closely at the back, he's using a torque key to secure the diffuser. Mine doesn't have those holes or this actual bracket, and it wouldn't do because it's a Carrera S. So I want to get close to addressing this on my car. I'm making a hole there. So first up, I'm going to mask up. I don't want any of the carbon or the lacquer splitting, so let's get the masking tape down. I'll put in some marker holes, drill these into either side, and then with that done, I'm just going to peel off the tape. Yep, hole looks good, one each side. Now I'm going to use this Christmas tree drill, and I'm going to make these holes bigger because obviously you need to be able to get the torque key through the other side. That done, those holes are now made. Just need a little bit of a tidy up, but no splitting or cracking. So I've sanded that down, and now I'm just going to apply some of this 2K lacquer, which is going to make sure that that's all sealed off nicely, and there just to prove it, the torque key fits through. So this is the current mounting. I'm going to adopt something similar, a 3D modelled a print that I'm going to produce, and I'm going to get a rivnut in here just to get this mounted up and test this out. Clearly it's not going to be strong enough to hold. And I've done that too tight. Okay, I'm going to need to print another one. And a second crack. Yeah, and that one's gone in fine. So let's get the rivnut tool off. And just a test mount, this is how it's going to go on. Slides on, do it with the torque key underneath. Yeah, perfect. So I'm going to get that actually probably made out of metal. Now I'm going to address this. Now I hastily added some heat film underneath this when I put it on the car, and I knew it wasn't really going to work, and when I took the diffuser off, clearly it doesn't. It looks a right mess. It's achieving nothing, so I want to fix that. So I'm going to cut out a template now. Now it's pretty straightforward to put on. Just going to whip that back off, line it up and get that fixed on. One on each side. And that's it, all done. I did put some aluminium tape around the edges just to try and give it a better seal, but that should give me much stronger protection where the cats are. Right, now to get this bolt out, and also want to tidy up this panel that I printed that fills the gap between the diffuser, because there is a bit of a gap as this is not a standard fit. This just bolts on underneath. You would have seen this in the previous videos where I created this. Now I'm going to pull off this venting here because the venting had a bit of a gap, because that's how you could get access to the bolt. Clearly I'm not going to need that anymore, so I'm going to take that off and I'm going to put in a new piece of venting. With that done, I'm just going to give it another texture coat just to tidy it up, smarten it up a bit. Now I'm going to get on to addressing the scratches on the diffuser. So when I looked at these, they weren't really deep. There was no scratches through to the carbon, so it's just a case of sanding down some of this top lacquer. And I'm going to go through grades of sandpaper to get that down. I worked up to a 2000 grit. Now I've mixed up some epoxy resin. This is XER coating that I got from Easy Composites, and a couple of little coats on here. I put 3 in the end, and as you can see there, the sort of whiteness is disappearing as that soaks in. Just doing it nice and gently, I don't want any runs. And that's it, done. Really happy with that. No longer seeing any of those scratches, and it's not going to go through and start to delaminate. Now the next thing I wanted to do is, there is actually a gap in the heat shield. This is where the standard Carrera exhaust pipes would have exited. So I just cut out some of this heat shielding. I made a small hole there so it can vent out through that back venting. And yeah, there's my cat getting in on the show. And screwing this in on each side with some Nylox nuts behind it. And then with the panel screwed back in, the diffuser's not on yet, but yeah, that works nicely. It's going to protect it a bit better. And here's the final bracket. It's going to hold this onto the car, so I need to get this on now. And with that fitted, it just really replaces the old one. Just a case of now sliding this on underneath and using the torque key to tighten it up, one each side. And this was so much easier than the previous setting I had. And now look, nice and steady. No movement on there at all. Fits in nicely. Really happy with that. All tidied up. All the fixes done. Looking good. Now lastly, I just want to come onto the shifter. I'm going to give you a bit of an update, and there's a link at the top that shows you the progress we've been making up until this point. Okay, so here is possibly the first kind of rough prototype that I've managed to get to, where things are now starting to fit. So excuse all the huge rods and etc. The strengthening and everything is not in place, but this shows the principle. So the principle is this, that this chassis frame here will sit over the top of the existing PDK shifter. So this is in current mode and would work as if it was a razor. So you push forward, you pull back, push forward, change back. That is putting you in reverse and into drive. Now when you then want to move into manual mode, and it will actually be pushed left to do that, but you would push it over there. Now you see this is now released. This is now released, so the PDK shifter, the razor shifter, is released off of this tab. And this is where, with this frame mounted on top, we will have the buttons are effectively running off the paddle shifter. And when they sit there on top of this, you will then be able to push forward and back to change up and down gears. Now that is the principle. The mountings and everything, some of this stuff, potentially quite a lot of it, will need to be crafted in metal for strength. I mean, this tab here is not going to last in plastic. I mean, I'm able to push it here, but if you're going to go through any real kind of pushing, that's going to break. Also, you can see there's no like springing on this at all, or movement. So all of those kind of aspects have to be set up and put in. Loads and loads and loads to do. Is this viable? I don't know, but man, it's worth a shot. Now at this point, I want to say thank you for those who commented and collaborated in the last video and gave me some directions to the electrical wiring diagrams. Now, what I was hoping for is that when I use those, I would effectively get a 12 volt reading, and you pull the paddle and that drops out, and effectively I can measure then an up or a downshift based on those wires. Now I was trying to get this via a multimeter off the back of the steering column, but either I'm doing something wrong, which is probably likely, or this really actually is messaging over Porsche's system, which is FlexRay. Now, if that's the case, I'm going to have to do a bit more digging, because this really is critical to the shifter. If I get the mechanism working and I can refine it and make it better and better, the shifter really is only just going to provide that reverse and drive shifting, which you kind of get already from the Razor, but maybe something a bit more aesthetically pleasing. I want to go the whole hog and get up and down shifting working as well. So if anybody's got any more information or detail on that beyond what's already in some of the forums, like Rentlist for example, if anyone's got any insider knowledge, that would be extremely useful just to help take this project a little bit further. And if you want to watch how this continues, please subscribe. That would be really, really useful. Subscriptions are really, well, they're free, and momentum is definitely a critical factor here, which you'll see in my closing message. So I'm sorry it's been a little while since the last video. I really want to thank you for watching. Thanks for watching me, Mark, Dad in the Shed, and a big shout out to my big inspirer, the original Dad in the Shed for me. Message coming now. Thank you very much, everyone.